We're enjoying a little sunny break here at the corner of René Lévesque Boulevard and Papineau in the eastern part of downtown, but it looks muggy out there. You can just tell. I can just tell. I don't do well in humidity. The humidex right now 30 degrees. The thermometer is saying 24, but it feels like 30. And just a reminder that Environment Canada has issued that yellow watch for severe thunderstorms this afternoon. So stay on alert for that. We're talking now about the drive to ban social media for younger teenagers under the age of 16. And we are expecting that bill to be tabled in Ottawa today that will purportedly, according to all reports, include provisions that will allow platforms to be exempted if they can demonstrate that they have changed the way their platforms operate in a way that protects young Canadians. Our next guest helped to write the main proponents of the policy when it was introduced at the Federal Liberal Party's National Convention here in Montreal back in April. We welcome lawyer Jonathan Nuss. Thanks for joining us on CJAD.
Thanks very much. Thanks very much, Trudy. It's a pleasure to be here and to talk about what I think is a really important issue. And I'm feeling very optimistic today.
Oh, that's good.
Given that the legislation is going to be introduced in Ottawa.
Well, it's good to be optimistic. I understand you kind of have skin in this game because you were there from the get-go. But tell us why you think it is important to protect kids from these types of social media platforms under the age of 16.
Yeah, I mean, I think our policy speaks to that. So without kind of going through the fine letter of the policy, our concern at the time when we presented this to the convention at the grassroots level was the harmful design features, the addictive design features, unsafe online interactions, and deepfakes. But I think the stats often speak for themselves. I mean, 82% of Gen Z call social media addicting. So there's clearly a problem with this technology. These platforms are designed to be addictive, and to be clear, that's not really a side effect. It's a design feature.
One of the things we were talking about this issue yesterday on the show, and I really feel strongly that it is more difficult now to be a young person living through your teenage years because of social media. And I saw what my daughter experienced when she was going through grade 6 onward up into high school. The ordinary pressures that we remember from our childhood are greatly magnified when your quote unquote neighborhood becomes millions of people who all have a nasty opinion about you for one reason or another. And I find that the pressure on kids on these platforms is just crushing. We have seen some anecdotal evidence of kids reacting in very, very self-destructive ways, ultimately destructive ways. Was this something that was of discussion as well? The on the ground influence on the development of teenagers.
100%. And I'd say nearly half of teens say social media is mostly negative for people their age. I'm a father of 2 young children, so a fellow parent. And like lots of parents, I've been watching this conversation unfold with concern. I mean, this really began with discussions with other parents in my community about the anxieties about screen time, about kids being exposed to content that we didn't really sign up for. And so that really was a driver for this grassroots initiative.
What is you say you're feeling optimistic. Do you think that one of the reasons this might be more acceptable to more people is that provision that says to the platforms, listen, if you shape up, if you address some of the criticisms about how your platform is designed to exploit young people, because let's face it, that's all they're in for. These platforms, it's designed to exploit the attention of young people for monetary reasons. Allowing them that out, do you think that will help sell this policy?
Sell it to who? I mean, I think that there is a community that wants a more kind of stringent enforcement mechanism or stringent legislation that might not have that loophole. I suspect that there are some out there who think that there should be an opportunity to have a bit of a way to allow other communities to participate on social media. I'm of two views on that, really. On the one hand, I'm not so sure that we can put our faith in these platforms to kind of to bring those solutions to the table. But on the other hand, I do know that there are communities out there that do depend in good faith on social media to engage and interact with groups of people that may be under 16, right? I think of community groups, for example. So it'll be interesting to see how the legislation deals with that. I, of course, haven't seen it. It's with cabinet, so I have no idea what's in the legislation. Obviously, our hope is that it mirrors as much as possible what we discussed at convention in the spring. But regardless of the path the legislation takes, I think that the alignment with what we discussed in our policy is meaningful.
Am I reading you correctly that you have no optimism that any social media platform would want to change to meet the criteria for the exemption?
Listen, I guess that could make me a pessimist. I'm not sure, but listen. I was following the litigation. I don't know if you're familiar with the litigation in Los Angeles, where some of the platforms were involved in a highly reported case, and the findings of negligence against some of the main platforms. And listen, you knew that this is addicting, and you ought to have known better, I guess. I don't know. I don't want to call myself a pessimist. As I said, I'm optimistic for what's happening today.
You might just be a realist, Jonathan.
I might just be a realist. Thank you. Yeah, thank you for the words. I think it's a hard battle, Trudy. I think that, and that's why I'm glad government's getting involved, because I think as a parent, you might agree that it's hard for us or our children to go up against these huge media companies, right? And it calls for government intervention to try and regulate and to try and create safe online environments for our children, particularly during those very sensitive years, let's say between 10 and 15, let's say, where brain development is such that children are really vulnerable to documented harms such as anxiety, such as depression, and unsafe interactions.
Oh yeah, I have no reservations about saying that some social media use is personality warping in vulnerable kids. Absolutely, Jonathan Nuss, thank you very much for your time. I appreciate the interview.
Thank you, Trudy.
Jonathan Nuss is a lawyer who co-authored the policy that informed the Liberal government's approach to protecting kids online.
Hello, Canada.
This is Bryan Adams Radio, hosted by Bryan Adams himself.
We'll play a few of mine, a ton of my favorites, and some must-hear behind-the-scenes stories from the world of rock and roll. One thing about doing rock and roll so long is you end up meeting a lot of the people that you admire. Sometimes you even get to work with them.
It's only love, and that's all. Bryan Adams Radio. I'm coming back to you. Now available on the free iHeartRadio app.
Everybody